Welcome, Caitlin. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you coming on as my resident expert on unlocking your unconscious mind to actually help you to create, attract, and manifest the things that you are working toward. Because what we learned in the first 2 days of this challenge is that manifesting is as much about your inspired action as it is about getting your belief systems and your desires lined up.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I wanted you to come and join us today is because there's a lot of power in unlocking our unconscious mind. But first, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay, well, I am a rapid transformational therapy practitioner.
Okay.
And what RTT is a hybrid between your NLPs, CBT, and psychotherapy, as well as hypnotherapy. So it's a mosh of everything.
Cool. So
Yeah.
it's RTT, Rapid Transformational Therapy.
Yes.
Okay. All right, cool.
And I find like I got into this a year ago. I got trained, and I do have a psychology background. So I've always found like the inner workings of the mind and the subconsciousness so fascinating.
Me too.
And it's like how we shape our reality is essentially what we feed our subconscious minds. So
okay, perfect. Well, that goes right back to what we talked about on day one. So you really are in the right place telling us about this. That's wonderful. So as a person so I think you also said that you also are a certified hypnotherapist. Is that, you said that's part of being okay.
Yeah. I got certified the same, like it was included as I was training and doing my practicum. I got certified as a hypnotherapist. So, and I'm going for my certificate of clinical hypnotherapy. So yay!
Yay! So I would imagine that as soon as you say the word hypnotherapy, hypnotism, self-hypnosis, anything like that. Oh, my door is opening. Just 1 second. I'm just going to pause, Caitlin. So sorry. Who gives a darn? Okay, so I would imagine, though, that there are a lot of myths around what it is and what it isn't. Thank you, sweetheart. What hypnotherapy is and what it isn't. Would you mind kind of, as soon as, I don't want to be up on a stage quacking like a duck. Right? Like you can imagine exactly some of the pictures that get in people's minds. So tell us why that is not accurate.
It's not accurate because we never lose control of we're never relinquishing control. Everything we do, say, literally everything is a choice that we make. So if you get like people saying, oh, I'm giving decision-making power to such and such.
Okay.
That is a choice. That is your decision to make. And it's kind of the same thing. It's like we have this perception of hypnotism equals no control over our own bodies. And hypnotists really really get on my nerves because it's like it's the stereotype. It's like the entertainer. Well, when you go up on that stage and there's a group of people and he seems to, and the hypnotist seems to magically pick and choose which person to go on. No, there is a technique, and it's like he tests each individual for REM or rapid eye movement. And it's like everybody is capable of going into hypnosis. it is a natural state of mind.
Okay.
But what he does, others are a lot easier to go into hypnosis because of how the REM is, or the rapid eye movement when you close your eyes. Yeah. Yeah, and you feel that little
I don't know if you
fluttering.
could see that.
Yeah. Fluttering sensation.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And if like you don't have that as prominent as the others, you're going back to the audience. But
Right.
if you're the select few, then you go on to be part of the show.
Okay. So it sounds like what you're saying is they're really picking and choosing people who would
Yeah.
be prime candidates because they're already in a state of being physically that makes them more susceptible to the quick hypnosis rather than a more intentional
Yeah.
deepening of layers. Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, I'm outing every hypnotist. I don't care. Y'all are
And
horrible.
every mentalist and every, you know.
But it just like all of those weird what like the tasks or the what people would say the suggestions that he's given are not out of the wheelhouse of the person
Mhm.
who is being hypnotized, the moral compass or whatnot. So it's like he cannot make you or suggest to you go rob a bank. Extreme. This is an extreme example.
Well, they're the ones that help us see more clearly. So good.
Yeah. Go rob a bank or commit a crime if you are a law-abiding citizen.
Okay.
That it just goes against your core belief system.
Okay.
However, what I like, here's a little thing between what I do. Yes, I put like I guide to hypnosis, and what you tell me is what your subconsciousness needs you to address in order to move past.
Okay.
And I would say like I'm a facilitator, like I'm a guide.
Okay.
I don't implant anything, any beliefs that would go against a person's core values.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
It makes perfect sense to me. So in a session, then what would have happened would have been some conversation in the beginning about what are some of the goals. Is that correct? And then you help a person actually slide into that hypnotic state, that trance state, where they then do become open to suggestion, but it's suggestions that you've pre-worked out. So you're not capable of planting in a suggestion that would go against their moral fiber.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes perfect sense to me, but it's in consultation with you that would happen.
Yes.
And I think I heard you say that what you're really doing is trying to help unlock that unconscious so that you're now actually creating some evenness between unconscious and conscious. Did I understand that right?
Yeah. What the easiest analogy that I could paint you is the consciousness and subconsciousness are two parts of the same coin.
Okay.
However, the subconsciousness is so quiet and the conscious mind is so loud that you have to shut one of them off, but the subconscious mind is still always in the background. It never shuts off, but it's very quiet. So in order to hear your subconscious mind, you kind of have to shut off the conscious mind, which is your logic.
Okay.
So that you're more open.
So every hour that we are awake, our conscious mind is in effect, it's in control, and it's actually guiding the decision making. However, at the same time, the unconscious or subconscious mind is also active. It's active 24 hours a day.
Yep.
The conscious mind is only active the hours we are awake and not in a trance-like state. And I don't know about you, I've actually had this experience. If I'm working on anything to do with numbers, anything to do with data analysis or Excel, which is like my very happy place, when I am working on something like this, so for example, in my previous position, I did management reports I did them regularly, but certainly every quarter. And that would consume a huge chunk of my time. And my husband will tell you the story about coming in and having a conversation with me one time where I literally had a full on response to him, made decisions and everything. Later that evening, when he mentioned it, I'm like, what? That never happened. I literally did not remember anything about the conversation. And it was because I realized now I was so enthralled by what I was doing as to be almost like a trance state.
Mhm.
So that can happen even when we are awake, which really kind of goes to proving that your unconscious mind is in constant sort of like perpetual motion, like perpetual activity.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does it though, Caitlin, does it actually drive? So as we think about yesterday, we talked about limiting beliefs, specifically around money. So things like money is the root of all evil. So now here I am actively thinking, I want to earn money. I want to earn a lot of money. I want $10,000 a month. Yeah, I want 10,000. Imagine what I could do with $10,000 a month. But somewhere in the back of my mind, dad telling me all the time that money's the root of all evil. Money's the root of all evil. Oh, really? You know what? People who want to earn so much money are greedy. All of these things, they actually stand in my way and they actually create a physical barrier to me because that's in the unconscious. Am I right?
Yeah, that's right.
So tell me more about that then, about how can we even the playing field of how the unconscious gets in alignment? That's really what we're here today about. Tell me more about that.
Um,
Did I take you off track?
No,
Okay.
no.
Miss, wait, where are you going now?
No, that's okay. And it happens for any blocks,
Okay.
anything in general. And it usually stems from childhood, especially when it comes to money, because we are so ingrained, like the center of our world is our parents.
Right.
And we learn from them. They're our first teachers, and we feed off of their energy, their and their lessons that they learned from their predecessors. So they learned, their parents and so on said money is the root of all evil. You were all throughout your life were told that. So that is an ingrained, deep emotional block, a mindset block. And in order to get that taken care of, you would have to go through regression, is what we call it.
Okay.
And it shows your subconsciousness also shows you what you need to address, what traumas, what mindset blocks need to be addressed in order for you to move on. Okay. So again, our subconscious mind is so fascinating.
Really, but what I heard you say though, Caitlin, is that the first step is really uncovering what are those things.
Yeah.
Because you can't work on something that you don't know doesn't exist, or sorry, that you don't know exists.
Yes.
Okay, so step one is identify.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. And then once we've identified, then so I heard you say that you're going to do a regression, which is basically, if I'm understanding that, it's kind of like moving you back through, like collapsing time basically, and saying you're safe, but we're back there right now.
Yeah.
So that's a regression, right? So it's like taking you back in time subconsciously to that place in that time while you still feel safe. Uncovering what. Okay.
What I do for clients is, and what I was trained to do is have them pick this event or this moment in time become like a movie or a TV show or something. Just having them make it gives them a sense of safety. It's like, okay, it's right in front of me, but I know I'm not living reliving it. You
What
can't
is that? You're tying into something. I want to know why that is.
A person can never relive an event from their past.
Right.
So just like something extremely traumatic, like I don't want to say I'm afraid that it'll be like too extreme.
We don't want to do any triggering. I understand completely.
But a really traumatic event.
Mhm.
It's already happened. You've lived it.
Imagine
It's
it was a car accident and then we're not going anywhere risque. So you were in a car accident as a child and you're going to take us back there.
Yeah.
But we're safe. We're not going to be damaged or harmed in that car accident. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. And for some reason, their subconscious mind has found that this is a problem, a step that they, or a block that they need to, for one thing, understand why it's still prevalent and why they're bringing it forward in, or the energy and the mindset forward into their present life. Okay. And then I asked one simple question, and it was like, is this helping you? Is this supporting where you want to be? Is this like where you want to stay? Because right now you are stuck. So, and all they have to say is, no, I don't want to be here, or yeah, I kind of do. And it's like, well, you're in pain. Like you want to continue on with this pain for the rest of your life, or do you want to leave it behind? And usually, of course, when you're in pain, you want to let it go. Usually. So I help them reframe and let it go. Okay. And then I use transformation words that help them, because in the intake, in our consultation, they give me words, phrases that they want to hear, that'll make them feel good and support where they want to go. And I put that into the transformation portion. Okay. And so for anybody who doesn't know this, part of the VIP experience with me includes a recording from Caitlin. And we sat down together and we did talk about these key words, things like security, things like consistency, right? Like we actually came up with some words that would help to reinforce the messages of this week's challenge and what we hope to accomplish with it. So I want to just go back for a second, if we can, Caitlin, to how does, so we know that there's a conscious mind and an unconscious mind, and we could relate that to, here's our physical being, here's our conscious mind, and here above in this higher self space, that's our unconscious mind, or somewhere in our, aura, however you want to picture that, because everybody will picture it differently, and it's really irrelevant. How is the hypnosis going to bring it like layers of a parfait together so that it's all working as one sweet dessert? Okay. The cookies, the vanilla wafers are the physical body, right? Yeah. The berries are the conscious mind, and that dreamy, Swedish pistachio pudding, whipped creamy thingy that you put in that kind of fills in all the gaps, that's the unconscious mind. How does the unconscious actually influence your ability to take action and create a manifest? Well, manifest is the word that we're using. It's the flavor of the week. Co-create. How do we co-create with the universe simply by accessing our unconscious mind? Okay, so for that, you would have to, it's what we, and you can do this in your conscious state too. Okay, perfect. Because, but it takes very, like, you have to be mindful about it. Because, of course, our subconscious mind, it looks at everything, it takes in everything in our world, in our surroundings, and it doesn't have a filter. It doesn't understand good from bad. It doesn't even understand time. It just understands information, and its sole purpose is to keep us safe. It wants our survival is its number one priority.
Okay.
What we can do is, what we have control over is our conscious state. What we say to ourselves, the music that we listen to, the TV shows, everything, that the information that we consciously take in affects the subconsciousness. So if you tell yourself every time you do something wrong or have a result that that you don't like, you're saying, oh my God, I'm such a failure, I'm an idiot, why did I do that, and whatnot. What is your subconsciousness saying?
Right.
And it's like, okay, I'm an idiot, I'm a failure and whatnot. It's gonna pull in more events and things to prove you right.
Okay.
So, and that's what I call looping thought, what is called looping thoughts. So it's like your thoughts lead to feelings, lead to behavior, and then your behavior justifies the thought.
Because we've built evidence, exactly as you said. So it also goes in line with the whole notion of your reticular activating system, and that those things that you focus on. So as you say, if you're bringing in all of this negativity, so we could point to a very recent example, post COVID, with all of the mandates and everything else, we all re-emerge like butterflies back into society, only to be told, oh no, get back into panic mode because we're about to head into a recession.
Yeah.
So if you are a person that spends a lot of time ingesting media, mainstream media specifically, news and those kinds of things, you are feeding into the fear machine inside you. And your reticular activating system is going to notice when the shelves aren't stocked. That could just be because the stock boy didn't make it out yet. But your brain goes, oh no, see, there's evidence, we're running out of food.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So this really does tie in then to when we can feed ourselves positive, higher vibration emotions, higher, more elevated thoughts and feelings. If we can add those, and this is why they say surround yourself with the people that you aspire to be. Nourish your brain. This is why, because it really is, your unconscious mind is constantly working, paying attention to literally everything you've ever seen, heard, smelled, touched, tasted, those five senses. It's all been recorded in your unconscious mind.
Yeah.
Your conscious mind has a 10% active amount. The unconscious is the other 90%. Make use of that 90%. It's constantly recording everything we bring in. Make it positive. That's what I'm hearing you say. The more positive we can feed in, and that's really what doing hypnosis is going to do for us. It's putting us into the trance state where the unconscious is actually more ready to receive these positive messages that you're going to feed in. The rapid transformational therapy part, though, helps you to say, oh, look at these things that are surfacing. Let's regress and fix those. But the hypnosis part is about accessing the unconscious. Have I understood that right? That in the rapid transformational therapy, that's where the psychology comes into play. That's where the therapeutic best practices, if you will. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hypnosis, putting a person into hypnosis is an easier way to open them up and get to the nitty bitties.
So it's a tool.
Yeah, it is a tool. It is a perfect tool.
Okay.
And where I can help heal, and I'm on the journey with you. It's a partnership.
Okay.
So it's like, I don't know, I will not know what a person's subconsciousness will bring up, and neither will they.
That makes sense.
And they have a feeling, they have a little inkling about like events and time periods that they would think would pop up. And yes, those oftentimes they do, but there's others. So the rule of thumb with RTT is we regress them a minimum of 3 times. They see a minimum of 3 scenes.
Okay.
And those scenes get a little, with each scene gets a little deeper and a little deeper into the true problem.
Okay.
So yeah.
Well, tomorrow we are actually going to be learning a specific manifestation technique. It's very, very, very effective, but it kind of ties into this. So as we're thinking about feeding in, one of the things that is on our agenda, sorry, I think I just scraped my microphone. One of the things that's on our agenda today to talk about is actually positive affirmations. And I'd like to talk to you about what are some of the best practices of using this kind of affirmation. I think I recall, so if anybody doesn't, I don't think I've mentioned this before, I was actually part of, Caitlin did a beta testing of a particular recording and I was part of that. And it was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. So I sat on my couch and I experienced it myself. And I was sitting there with my eyes closed and experiencing it. And when I came out, I can't even explain just the general feeling of better that I had. And that was even the first time. But what was more beautiful was looking over, and my husband had participated in it as well. And over the course of 7 days, huge transformations in him. So if you don't know this about my husband, very negative guy, really pessimistic. And this I've already seen. And not only that, but then we actually started to see change in his business. So he's also an entrepreneur. He has a healing business. He's a reflexologist. I'm not joking you, within 4 days. So he's also a manifestor generator. I will tell you that for anybody who knows human design, he's a manifestor generator. This is a man who looked out at a tree branch and went, wow, this is a bad windstorm. I hope that tree doesn't make our fence fall down. Literally 5 minutes later, our entire back fence was gone. I wish I was joking. So this man, though, is having this wonderful experience with your recording, Caitlin. And then, I'm not kidding, 3 days later, he received a phone call from a stranger saying, yeah, so I'd really like to bring you into my business as a subcontractor so that I can expand my business and have more. And would you be interested in doing that? And I think it's going to, and Martin's like, holy crap, that's going to quadruple our income from that business. So this is why I wanted Caitlin, because it does. So even if you don't believe it, and this is where I wanted to go with this, very, very skeptical man, like a really skeptical man, doesn't believe anything, is always looking for the evidence, which I absolutely respect and honor, has actually proven to himself. So as you're saying, we gather evidence out of our experience. He gathered evidence that said, holy crap, this works. So the reason I wanted to speak with Caitlin about this is because I have actual experience working with Caitlin and seeing the effect of this. Take me back for a second, Caitlin. What was my actual question that I started with? Just seeing that this happens to me all the time.
Oh my God, I don't know. You got so passionate there.
I did get so passionate, didn't I?
Yeah, I got absorbed. I'm like, yes.
Yes.
And then I'm like, in the back of my head is like, oh my God, she's gonna make me cry.
It was about the not believing it. So even if you don't believe it, it still works. How? Why?
Well, I think it's we're all like, there's always a little skeptic in us. Like, it's like, and I don't know where it comes from, but it's like, you know what, this isn't right. This I don't believe and whatnot. But I find like those people are just the funnest to prove wrong, because it's like, because they don't know, like, they don't understand the power that we as humans, just humans, and I'm saying this because I don't know any other.
Well, we aren't dogs and we're not horses, so we don't know what their experience is, but yeah.
I can speak for humans. It's like we have this unbelievable power, and and when we learn to understand it, like, we can do whatever, like, provided it's good, please. If you're gonna do a crime, no, y'all are crazy.
Yeah.
Like, seriously. Use that power for good, because it's like, and I do this constantly, and I even worked on my parents, and
Okay.
every time, like, can I say a story of
Yes,
like,
please do. I love stories.
okay, so with my dad, he like, my parents are very supportive of what I do, and they're very open-minded people.
Good.
But they are blocked.
Yeah.
They block it. And with my dad, he has he has a tendency to forget a lot of things. So I'm like, okay, he wanted to know something, I can't remember, and I'm like, okay, ask your subconsciousness that question, and in about 5 minutes, and then just forget it. Just forget it. And he's like, well, I'm trying to remember. I'm like, just forget it. Just ask yourself what you want, and just forget. And like 5 minutes afterwards, the answer popped into his mind. Like, the subconsciousness is like our living Google. You just ask a question and it'll pop it in. Time, of course, varies. Don't blink. 5 minutes.
Right,
No,
I get that.
That's not how it works.
Not everything's instantaneous. We live in this instant gratification society that's got us fooled into believing everything should happen immediately, but it doesn't.
No, and it's horrible.
Yeah.
And it's just like, but can I say another story?
Absolutely.
Okay, good. My mom, I don't know what exactly she did. She hurt her arm and her shoulder, and I did a different version of what you beta tested.
Okay.
And I went into like her muscle tissues and her bloodstream and all of the fine things that were hurting her, that were causing her pain. And I what I essentially did was I flipped the switch for her body to heal itself.
Okay.
That's how, I kid you not, that's how powerful our subconscious mind is.
So if you follow anything, and I mean in general, if people follow things around traditional Chinese medicine, where we are talking about meridians and flows of energy through the body and all of those different channels and the microcosmic orbit and all of those, when we are doing healing work along the lines of something like a Reiki, the point of applying the energy to the other person, Martin does it through reflexology and shiatsu and Reiki as well. The point of doing that is actually to use those meridians and allow the energy to go along and remove blocks. And it sounds like what you did for your mom was a lot like that.
Yeah.
Am I right? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So the mind is really, it kind of goes along with the whole notion of, there's this amazing phenomenon called the placebo effect, right? Where you take a sugar pill and you think it's going to cure whatever ailment you have, and suddenly it does, even though it actually had no medicine in it. And that really is because the power of the mind is unbelievably, like, it's beyond our comprehension how powerful our mind is in creating our reality. And I love the way you said that it's as simple as doing a Google search. I think that's just a brilliant way of putting that. As you said, you asked, so is that a technique then that we can, so explain, so you said, in this case, it was he forgot something, but imagine it was making a decision. Could we use this same idea of pose the question and then forget it and allow your unconscious or your subconscious to come back to you in whatever timing to bring the answer to you? It's like when you say, oh, I don't remember, but I'm going to remember at 2:00 in the morning, guaranteed, and I'm going to call you. Right? Right? So
Yeah.
But can it also be used to do things like make choices?
Yeah, I can. Going into, you get more accurate responses, and this is it's weird, yet it's quite fascinating to me, because you can put yourself into hypnosis, or I can, and I ask myself questions, yes or no questions.
Okay.
It cannot be elaborate.
Right. I was going to say it has to be a
And
yes and no. Okay.
I use my pinky fingers and I
Okay.
just relax my body. Just it's like yes is for my right, no is for my left.
Okay.
And I ask the question, and my pinky, it's not like lifting up the pinky, it's side to it. And it's just, and you feel the pull, and it's like, okay, this is a good, I feel good energy from this decision and whatnot. And it's like, no,
Okay.
stay away.
I know another technique very similar to that, only it's basically it's a traditional Chinese method, and you put one hand here and one hand here, and it's a polarity thing. And you stand up with your feet hip distance apart, planted nice and firmly on the ground. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, close your eyes, and then it's about putting your hand here and your other hand on your stomach, asking yourself the question, in which direction does your body naturally lean in? So it's actually the same, only it's using the fluid, literally it's using the water in your body the same way that the oceans and the tides work. And which way is it pulling you? And we know that one is, this is a yes, and forward is a yes, backward is a no. So I love that it's the same idea where you can actually go to your subconscious, your unconscious mind, and say, I need to feel secure about this decision. I need to know, what's the right answer here? Is it A or is it B? But so an important element then of that is it's a choice. It's not so what's the secret meaning of life? Is the secret meaning of life enlightenment or procreation? You give the universe a choice and it says, oh, it's this one. Oh, and I don't mean for sure that it is that one. I don't know the answer. Yeah, it's 42. That's the answer. Any Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy fans here? You'll know what I mean. So that's a really interesting thing then about being able to unlock that and bring it forward. So how can we plant ideas in our own unconscious to help us? So in this case, we are talking about creating consistent income. And we've already talked about the importance of specificity. We can't just say, oh, I just want consistent income. What, consistently you want $5 every month?
Yeah.
What's the number? Give it a number. Inking it is better than thinking it. So writing an actual number down and making that the actual amount. And also, is this in my business? Is this in general in my life? Like, are you willing to take that through lottery winnings and inheritances and found money on the street? Or is this, so if we're specific, how do we then, so now we know my specific goal is I want to make $10,000 a month and I want to do that consistently in my business. In my case, I have multiple streams of income. So I'm not saying it has to come from my coaching business. Any of the streams of income I have combined 10,000. And therefore, I'm still being specific. It has to be business rather than luck or chance, which, by the way, there's no such thing as luck or chance. We'll talk about that another day. How do I then put things in to the unconscious? What would you suggest?
I would say visualizations.
Okay.
And praise everything, because, and I'm not saying seek outward praise from somebody else. Okay. Yes, that works, but nothing works better than praising yourself.
Okay.
Even if like you have low self-esteem, and which is a block and a limiting belief and whatnot, praise yourself. And if you're not used to praising yourself, it'll feel like the weirdest thing in the world. Yeah. But the subconscious mind works on repetition. If you keep visualizing what you want, keep like the number in your head, the amount of money is like
10308.
Keep visualizing that, okay. And you're gonna find, and it's gonna attract, like you're gonna become a magnet to it. Okay. Because the subconscious mind and the universe work together. they work together.
Right.
So like, but you have to be stupidly specific. Like I'm talking crazy down to the detail specific.
Okay.
And what's going to happen is you're going to find that your number, your income number, is going to pop up all throughout your life, all throughout your day. You're going to notice it. It's going to be there. And that is an affirmation. It's like, it's there, it's coming. And you just feel gratitude towards it, as like every time you see that number, you're like, I know it's coming. I feel like it's already here. I already have it.
Okay.
Thank you so much. I am very grateful that I have this number, or that I've seen this number.
Okay. Well, that sounds a lot like 1111 and rainbows to me. Genuine. And I mean this in all honesty. For my sister, every time she sees a rainbow, for her, she takes that as a good omen. I know so many people, when they see 1111, they take that as a good omen, right? For me, it's the number 22. So everybody's got the, now it's going to be 10308. But anyway, but so it sounds like the best practices then, Caitlin, specificity, absolutely vital. So the more specific we can be, the better. And ideally, it sounds as well like we want to see ourselves. So if we could turn it into a movie that we are observing, then that's great, because that makes it more concrete for us.
And better yet, step inside that movie. I'm sorry I interrupted.
It's okay. No, please do. Okay.
Because again, our subconsciousness does not have any concept of time.
Right.
So if you see yourself as an old lady in that movie, you're not going to have it until you're an old lady, because that's how you see it. But like, I know like a lot of people or gurus say you gotta picture it like you have it already. Well, yeah, there is some,
but not quite, they're wrong.
No, they are wrong, because it's like you have again, no concept of time, subconsciousness,
right?
But remember, it listens to your words. So if you say words like, I will have this is coming to me, but then yeah, it's always in a future. And when is the future? Is like, right. It'll always be one step away
again.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So we want to be specific. We want to create as much of a movie as we can. And we want to be in there, and we want to be specific about our appearance, our age, our experience in that, if we can. However, the one thing I will say on that is we don't have it now. So although you're saying, I am beautiful, I am grateful, I am wealthy, I am abundant, I am, if you were to say, I am making consistent income, and then you actually have a visual seeing out of your own eyes in this movie, guess what your brain thinks? Your brain goes, oh, you got it. Never mind. Don't need to focus on that. Bye-bye. So this is why there are some really interesting little nuances in this way to visualize. So yes, you need to be in it. And to your point, you don't want to be picturing yourself as an old woman, because when you look in the mirror and you don't see an old woman, your brain goes, oh, it's not yet, not yet, not yet. So we want to picture ourselves in the present and collapse that time and say that this is now, but we don't want our brain to believe we've already got it. So it's kind of a tricky, this is why having the hypnosis actually helps to alleviate that, is I think where I'm going with that, is to have something that's already, that's very specific, working with somebody like you, Caitlin, to actually uncover what those things are, choose the specific language. You, as a trained specialist at this, you will know how to frame it so that that actually materializes in a way that is present and coming rather than future or vague.
Yeah.
And that, I guess, is where I'm going with that, is that these best practices, can you do it yourself? Yes, you can. But the thing about this part about visualizing, so helpful to have someone like you help us create that. And one of the things I will say, that as a result of the guided meditation that you had us go through this, the self-hypnosis session that you gave me to test, that was the thing. It was like a step by step. Now consider this. Now consider this. And what we're doing this week is we are getting specific. What is the specific thing I want? What are the specific things that are getting in my way about my beliefs? So what are the blocks that I need to get through? And what we talked about on Monday is about showing ourselves compassion when we recognize those things coming up. So you see it coming up in your mind and you're like, oh God, I can't believe I did that. Or you can say, oh, look at me go, showing another belief. Oh, I'm so sweet. Look at me learning. You could do that. You have a choice about how you're going to respond to it. And what you are suggesting is don't berate yourself. Be compassionate to yourself. Recognize that this is a process. It's not going to fix overnight. Well, maybe it will with you. Will it fix overnight with you? Is it going to fix overnight with you? I know it's not going to fix overnight. However, I can attest to the fact that very quickly there was improvement. And I'm looking at somebody like Martin, who was so, like, if you were to say that, scarcity and abundance mindsets are a continuum and this side is scarcity and this side is abundance, Martin was behind this. I love this man. I don't know why he puts up with me, but now he's like over here now. So if this is abundance here, he's here now. That's huge in 10 days. And this is only 10 days, guys. 10 days, such an enormous transformation in this person. And look at what he's attracted in. Look at what was able to, right? So, but it was about being open to it. And that's what you help people do, is to be open to receive it. Because we have to have that resonance between what I think I want, what my body thinks I want. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So what else should we know? I don't want to take up your whole day. What else should we know about working with you, Caitlin?
Be open-minded.
Okay.
And there's three categories where your results come from.
Okay.
It's within 48 hours, I'm feeling good. There is some sign of it. Mm-hmm. Then it's like maybe some people will see results in a couple weeks.
Okay.
And that's amazing. But sometimes, depending on how ingrained that little block or trauma or whatever it is in your mind, it takes maybe months to happen. There is no set time frame. I can't say with certainty. It's like, yep, you're gonna feel right. You just no, that I can't, because every individual is different, and it's like, it's wonderful because you never know what the transformations are going to be, but you are going to have a transformation. And this is just from my practicum. Like I've gone through the ringer too. Like I've experienced it. I've done it on myself. I've had other RTT practitioners help me out as like with my limiting beliefs, and it's tiring work. Some people it's just like you finish it and it's just like, oh my goodness, I'm so tired now. But it's like you've done so much work on yourself. Of course you're gonna be tired. Yeah. But then you have some people that are like, yeah, I'm good, I'm ready to go, let's go run a mile or something like that, and they're just hyped up on energy, and it's just like it varies. But
well, just like there are introverts and extroverts in the world. Some people recharge by being alone, and other people are like, no, give me the people. I'm like, give me the alone. So but everybody is going to be different, right? How you recharge after a session, as you say, you as unique as the traumas you bring to it.
Yes. Okay. Yeah.
And how would you suggest that somebody, so first of all, before we go into how will they get in touch with you, what you offer as a program, is it one-to-one or is it a group?
never group.
Okay.
I'm
Always one-to-one.
yes,
Safety.
because maybe further down the line and I'm more comfortable, I would do group,
Okay.
but it would be, I do one-on-one just because it's a partnership. I can talk to them, and that's basically what all I'm doing is having a conversation with you. You're responding to me, and I'm asking questions. Literally all I do is ask questions.
I ask a lot of questions too. I hear you. That's our job as a coach, is to ask questions, uncover. Yeah.
And then it's like, whatever emotions come out of during the session, it's like it's healing. You are, and I can't really use that term. No, I can't use the C word, cure. But
no diagnosis and no cures. We understand. Yeah. Let's agree that we all understand no diagnoses and no cures.
No, can't do that. No,
aid that can benefit individuals at differing rates and times, and
yeah, it's just a bunch of red tape and all.
I understand, especially in Canada, we have to be really, really careful about not stepping on the medical association's toes. Yeah, they got some serious rules here, man.
Well, the hospitals don't even recognize me yet, so it's like, but in due time, it's hopefully we are working on it. So.
Good. Well, I know that we have a few people within the Consistent Income Creators Club that are RTT, like rapid transformational therapists and hypnosis. I practice NLP. Have been since long before NLP actually had letters associated with it. So long before you ever heard of Tony Robbins, this girl was doing NLP. And I know that hypnosis has long been a part of that practice as well. So long-standing history of hypnosis itself, working with you, it goes beyond just the hypnosis, because we're working on reframing and reprogramming these negative tapes that play in our head, which is really cool. You work with people one-to-one. How long are your sessions?
An RTT session is 2 hours with me. Okay. I find that 2 hours is the threshold that a person can stay in hypnosis, like at a given time, because they are working. They are doing some work, and of course you get tired. But during the session, it would be normal, and I've had this a couple times in my practicum, that people would just wake up and whatnot, and it's perfectly normal. It's perfectly natural. You just wake up, then I just walk them down back into hypnosis, and it's fine, and everything's good. But I also have in the hand, if you need, like, I have got a mini kit, which is just the RTT session. That's 2 hours. And then in 30 days we have a follow-up to see how you're doing and whatnot. But I have a more intensive one, which is at the beginning of the process. It's the 2-hour RTT. And then every week I have what's called a role, function, purpose, intention session with them, and it's 1 hour long, and it just has because when you're you're the main work and that's done, a lot of things surface, a lot of trauma and emotions that we don't necessarily understand where that's coming from. That's when the RFPI, as it said, session comes into play, and it just addresses it. And
so one of them is more like hey, I have I don't want to use the word crisis because it's not specific. I have this one thing and it's a block and it's in my way, and that's a one session with you. Or there's the more intense program where a person would be working with you and you're working through all of the things as they come up.
Yeah, for a month. Yeah.
Okay, so why would a person, so what is, do people typically do the 2 hour first and then things come up and like, oh, well, I guess I'm signing on to the other? Or do you typically recommend, no, let's start with, because we know that things are going to come up. Let's start with the full program. Is that your recommendation when people are working with you, to start with that or to go with the one-off?
I would recommend them going with the full program just because it's so new if they're not used to it.
Okay.
And it's like something things do come up. And you feel so vulnerable that you do need help with processing that.
Yeah.
So I always do recommend that. And then if you have like something else that you need addressing down the line, you know the process, so then we can just do a one-off and you'll be fine.
All right. So it's about, sometimes those things that come up are actually really emotional, and that processing time, you need that support for that. So just as you would if you were going into therapy with any therapist, you're still a therapist. So it's having that support for the emotional needs of the things that are coming up. That's why you would suggest that. I understand that. That makes sense. So Caitlin, one thing I haven't asked you yet is, tell me about, I want to say your ideal client, but I don't mean your ideal client. So how will I know? Imagine you're talking to this audience of 700 people. Among these 700 people, how will they know that they should be considering getting in touch with you? What will happen? What will be happening in their life? What will they be thinking about? What will they be considering? What are their blocks? How are these things showing up? So why should someone, what kind of person?
I would say pain. They're in pain, they're stuck. They want to get past something, and they've tried to do it by themselves.
Okay.
But they need that help. They don't, like, there's something deeper that they can't seem to get through to. So about that, and yeah, it just, what we bottle up inside, it becomes an illness type of thing. If you don't relieve the source and you keep bottling it up, it causes problems down the line, further down the line. So I guess I'd ask them, it's like, are you willing to become vulnerable and willing to invest in yourself, and to not feel pain anymore, to move past your blocks and not be stuck?
Okay. And obviously when you're saying pain, that could be emotional, mental, any physical, spiritual kinds of pain, any pain in its form. Okay. Holy moly, there was another question that actually tied directly onto the end of that. And before I said that about the pain, I knew it. If you were to be writing, so you know how often in Facebook there are these, tell us who you serve, tell us your I help statement, what's your elevator pitch, all of those wonderful things. If somebody came to you and said, you were at a networking event and you had 2 minutes to tell people who you are, what you do, and who you serve. We know who you are. You're Caitlin Rowley. We know that you're an RTT, certified hypnotherapist. Who do you serve? Who are the people? So we know that we want people who are in pain, who feel stuck, who have tried to do things themselves and aren't getting through it. They need a little bit of guidance for that. Are you specifically dealing with people, for example, who had shitty childhoods? Are you helping people who are having difficulty losing weight? Are you dealing with people who have addiction problems and want to get through? What kind of people are Caitlin's ideal clients?
My ideal clients would be entrepreneurs who are at at us hitting the ceiling.
Okay.
That, or they're starting off and they're scared of taking that leap because of some inner pain that they're having. Also, it's just like I deal with like my ideal client is not necessarily, maybe they need help in their personal life as well. I deal with entrepreneurs that may need help with their business, getting past that stuck point.
Okay.
But
So I help
also,
female entrepreneurs get unstuck.
yeah, overcome their beliefs, their beliefs. And the beauty of it is if I help them in either their business or their personal life, it trickles down to other facets on all areas of their life. So it's a well-rounded thing.
I really do hear you saying I help female entrepreneurs who are stuck get unstuck and access their unconscious mind to bring abundance into their lives.
Yes.
This is recorded. You can take that. It's free. Hot seat coaching at its finest. I'm just joking. I just want to be able to, so that we can, if anybody is out here and is paying attention and thinking, man, what would be so if they're feeling stuck and they've tried other things and it's not working. So whether those are feelings of unworthiness, which I think is going to be a huge one, and that really, really, really ties into this whole challenge, this feeling of unworthiness. And those feelings of unworthiness can come from so many places. It's not just about money. Money's just one of the ways it manifests, right? Maybe you don't believe you're worthy of love. Maybe you don't believe you're worthy of happiness. Maybe you don't believe you're worthy, like whatever it is. Worthiness seems to be at the root of so much, particularly in women. So there you go. Well, wonderful, wonderful. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us today before we say goodbye from this interview?
If you guys are interested in being a part of the beta test,
Well, it worked for Martin. 2 thumbs up. It worked for Martin.
Yeah,
it worked for me too. I shouldn't just put it all on him. Sorry.
Just comment.
Okay.
Down below that if you're interested.
All right. So leave a beta, BETA, beta down below in the comments if you'd like to take part in Caitlin's wonderful beta testing. Remove your limiting belief blocks.
Recording. Yeah. It's just a transformation. There's no regression, so you don't have to feel like it's scary off the bat. It just gives you a nice bite size of what I do.
Yeah, and I would actually say that it was a lot like being part of a guided meditation. So not scary at all, from the sense of, I got to be honest with you, the very first time, here's a born skeptic right here. Very first time, do you think I allowed myself to go down? No. I wanted to know what you were telling me first. So, so that's what I did. Very first time, I did not participate. I listened like this, when I opened, kind of, which is, but once I'd had that chance, very, very not scary, just like a guided meditation. I felt beautiful at the end. So if anybody, and I have to be honest with you, as evolved as I am in my own mindset and my own limiting beliefs and blocks and all of those things, I discovered 2 more as a result of this that I'm now working through. I actually talked about one of them on Monday around my children's sense of security, and that they feel safe and believe that mom will always have a roof over their head and food in their stomachs, clothes on their back, because there was a period of time when we didn't. And so recognizing that as a result of your recording was such a beautiful gift. So thank you very much. It's already made a difference in how I'm approaching my business. And this really, guys, is what it's all about, is bringing these things forward. It's not meant to bring you down into the muck. It's actually made to make you go, oh, that is ugly. Let me put some lipstick on that. right? That's really what it's about, so that you can move through it and not allow it to be a barrier anymore. Right. And so for me, a huge barrier, I don't do DMs. And what I realize is I say I don't do cold DMs. Hell, I wasn't doing any DMs. I wasn't doing any. And so that was one of the things that this helped me to discover was, oh my God, Daniel, you're getting in your own way, because you're not even sending relationship DMs, because you're so afraid of being seen as the cold DM girl. So it's amazing how this brings things forward and puts them up in front of your face and says, you got some stuff to take care of here. If you want that success, here's the thing that you should work on next. And that's really all it is here's the thing to work on next. Would you agree? Yeah. Love the beta test.
And it actually is your own, like, you yourself are saying, hey, gotta work on this. Gotta work on. Yeah, it's not even me. It's it's all you.
It's all us. All us. Well, I hope that people do take advantage. Like I said, I found it incredibly wonderful. Like the peace that it bring. Oh, somebody called my mother and told her I said brang. When I was a child, I used to say that all the time. It used to irritate her so much. So all the peace that it brings. I just think it's absolutely worthwhile. And thank you so much, Caitlin, for joining us today, talking to us about RTT and telling us why we actually have a misconception about hypnosis, and how actually this can be a really useful tool to access what's in our unconscious mind, the unconscious mind that is working 24/7, 365 for the full lifetime that we have, possibly before, likely after, right? This essence of your being is your unconscious, and we can access that and actually get that working for us with just a few simple ways of working it, and best done with the guidance of an expert like you, Caitlin, who can help us to actually get down there safely, feel safe, which I think is an important element of it, feel safe and secure in allowing these things to come forward, move through, turn them into something different, and whoa, wonderful life. All right. Did I not tell you that I sing all the time? Anyway, so thank you so much for joining us today, Caitlin. I really, really appreciate it. Now, if somebody did want to reach out with you, would you prefer that they send you a friend request or a DM or an email? What's best for you?
You can send me a can we do DMs if it, send me a DM. Yeah.
Okay. I'll make sure that I will make sure that you're tagged on this then, so that they can actually click on your name there. I did have difficulty. I can't remember what it was I wanted to tag. Oh, I was wanting to tag you on something that I was posting about this, so people would know you were going to be doing it. It won't even let me send you a friend request. So, yeah. So I couldn't tag you. I'm sorry. But hopefully we can tag you in this, so that people can actually find you and know that it's you instead of some other Caitlin Rowley.
There's a couple of us.
I'm sure I couldn't believe how many Danielle Wilsons there were. Holy cow. Anyway, all right, guys, have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you so much, Caitlin. And this is day 3. It's day 3. See you tomorrow.